In October 2015, 14-year-old Emily Carter was walking home on a rainy night. Somewhere between her friend's front door and her own, she vanished. The active search efforts reached a standstill. Emily's case file was eventually moved into the archives, becoming another unsolved mystery from a decade prior. Then, exactly 10 years later, on October 17, 2025, her dormant YouTube channel suddenly became active. An anonymous user uploaded a 27-second video with a simple title, "Help Me." The footage showed Emily staring directly into the lens, whispering for help. But the most jarring detail was her appearance. She was wearing the exact same clothes from the night she disappeared, and she appeared to have stayed the same age. Investigators initially looked for signs of a deepfake or a long-delayed upload. However, forensic teams analyzed the file's metadata and confirmed the video had been recorded and uploaded only 3 hours before it went viral. The footage showed no signs of digital manipulation or AI-generated artifacts. To the experts examining the file, it appeared to be a verified recording of a girl who had remained physically unchanged for an entire decade. Detective Ryan Moore was assigned to lead the reopened investigation. He began by directing his team to analyze the environment shown in the video, searching for any identifiable marks on the furniture or the walls. During a high-resolution scan of the footage, a technician noticed a microscopic detail. When the light hit Emily's eyes at a specific angle, a reflection of the room behind the camera became visible on the surface of her cornea. Through forensic image enhancement, investigators isolated the shape of the silhouette standing directly behind the tripod. It appeared to be at least 7 feet tall, with proportions that seemed skewed even when accounting for the curvature of the eye. The team attempted to match the figure to a human frame, but the limb-to-torso ratio didn't align with known anatomy. While they couldn't identify the figure, the discovery suggested that Emily was being recorded by something that didn't resemble a typical suspect. Digital investigators eventually tracked the YouTube upload's IP address to a remote, heavily forested area 200 miles away from the original disappearance site. When the search team reached the coordinates, they found an abandoned cabin. The building was decaying, but the only entrance was secured by a heavy padlock on the outside of the door. Upon entering, they found a room that matched the YouTube video in every detail, from the placement of the chair to the single low-hanging light bulb. However, Emily was nowhere to be found. On a wooden shelf against the far wall, investigators discovered 10 VHS tapes. Each one was labeled with a different year, forming a chronological record of the decade Emily had been missing. The tapes were sent to a lab for playback. On each one, Emily sits in the same chair and speaks to the camera, but every recording is cut short the moment she begins to describe her surroundings. The consistency of the recordings suggested the collection was curated. The tapes provided a yearly look at Emily's captivity, but were edited to ensure her location remained a secret. Detective Moore focused his attention on the final tape in the sequence, which had been recorded only a few days before the video appeared on YouTube. In this footage, a visibly terrified Emily leans toward the lens. She whispers a warning that the being holding her is not human. Forensic analysts used frame-by-frame processing to look for movement in the shadows behind her. By isolating video segments and adjusting brightness levels, they pulled details from the dark corners. The enhanced frames revealed a creature with elongated limbs and animal-like eyes, becoming visible only when digitally manipulated. The investigation shifted its focus toward these physical anomalies. The evidence from the tapes suggested they were tracking something that could obscure its presence within the static and shadows of the recording itself. Following the cabin search, Detective Moore returned to the precinct. Late that night, he remained in his office to review the forensic reports in a controlled, secure environment. An email appeared in his inbox with no sender information or subject line. It contained a single attached video file. Moore opened the file to find a new recording of Emily. This time, she was smiling at the camera. She spoke directly to him, acknowledging that the police had successfully located the cabin. This was impossible. The location of the cabin and the details of the search had not been made public, and the precinct's network was supposed to be isolated. It became clear that the entity had been monitoring the investigation in real time. Moore was no longer just observing the case. He had become part of the documentation. In the video, Emily pointed a finger toward the edge of the frame and whispered that someone was standing behind the detective. Moore turned around to see an empty room, but when he looked back at his computer, Emily had disappeared from the video. The chair in the recording was empty. The footage continued, showing a tall, thin shadow moving across the cabin wall with a staggering, unnatural gait. Then the feed cut to black. Moore did not arrive for work the next morning. His office was found locked from the inside with his computer still running, but the detective had vanished without leaving any physical evidence behind. The media artifacts associated with Emily Carter appear to function as a lure. Every time a new video appears on October 17th, it is followed by the disappearance of the person who views it.